Hurricane Sandy was the 18th named storm, 10th hurricane, and second major hurricane of the 2012 Atlantic hurricane season. Sandy was a Category 3 storm at its peak intensity when it made landfall in Cuba. By the time Sandy was off the coast of the northeast U.S., it was a Category 1 equivalent extratropical cyclone, causing most of its damage from there. That is how the storm got the unofficial name Superstorm Sandy. It's been 10 years since Sandy, and while the most severe damage was in New Jersey and New York, we felt the impacts here in Pennsylvania for weeks after the storm hit. In Susquehanna County, an 8-year-old boy was killed while he was outside checking on his family's calves. He was running back inside when a gust of wind brought down a tree, causing his fatal injuries. In Carbon County, a family of 4 using a generator was taken to the hospital for carbon monoxide poisoning. One of the victims later died. It was also a time where once again the people of northeastern and central Pennsylvania came together to help their friends, their neighbors, and even strangers in other states, those victims harder hit in New York and New Jersey. Now 10 years later, we look back at Newswatch 16's coverage before, during, and after Superstorm Sandy. We begin on October 29, 2012. With plenty of notice of Sandy's arrival, that also meant plenty of time to buy up every generator in sight. Bob Reynolds showed us the preparations in Luzerne County.
Tons of food is being delivered to the community center at Eagle Rock Resort near Hazleton. A long power outage could spoil the food, but officials are breathing easier. The gated community has rented one of the last generators available. The units are in short supply.
We are out completely. We're totally 100% out. All our large units and small units, we just rented our last one today.
Eagle Rock officials are glad they were able to rent the large generator to keep the lights on and the food fresh.
If we lose power for several days, all of our food is stored in this building. So if we have residents who should need food or our own employees, staff who are working, they'll be able to have access to foods.
Eagle Rock officials say besides the big unit being wired into place, smaller units are spread across the resort in critical areas to deal with Sandy.
I just want them to know that we are ready, we're prepared, and again, we'll be watching if they are in distress, they have a problem, we'll be out there.
It's a scary situation, but it's best to be prepared and not be caught off guard. At least this storm gave us some warning.
The generator you're looking at is temporary and portable, but the folks here at Eagle Rock Resort tell me they have plans in the works for something on a permanent basis for the next time. Bob Reynolds, Newswatch 16, Luzerne County.
By the night of October 29th, travel restrictions were put in place as conditions started to deteriorate. Peggy Lee was live along Interstate 81 in Luzerne County.
PennDOT and the Turnpike Commission implemented travel and vehicle restrictions on its roadways tonight, including the banning of certain types of tractor trailers. Now, the drivers we spoke to this evening said the state is doing what it should to keep people safe.
Motorists are encouraged to restrict all non-essential travel.
Hours before Sandy's expected arrival in Pennsylvania, highway officials ordered travel restrictions on the interstate. Both PennDOT and the Turnpike Commission ordered drivers to a maximum of 45 miles an hour. Certain commercial vehicles, such as oversized tractor trailers and rigs pulling empty trailers, are prohibited from traveling on most interstates in northeastern Pennsylvania due to heavy winds.
I've seen those pulled over already too. I kind of know that they become just expensive kites right now, those flatbed trailers. So
we found Mary Sherrill as she was getting onto the northeast extension here at the Mount Pocono exit. She's trying to make it to the Philadelphia area before the weather hits. She's glad there are restrictions in place.
I'm a little nervous. I'm trying to keep in touch with my family about 80 miles away that I'm trying to make a home to, so they're letting me know about the conditions there. And
Lauren Green from Lake Harmony agrees.
Especially if there's tractor trailers and whatnot on the road, because they're large and there's gusts of winds that they're supposed to be 75, 80 miles an hour, they could blow them right over.
However, drivers say seeing several utility trucks on the interstates was certainly a welcome sight, knowing help is on the way.
Power outage is what I'm most worried about, because they're saying it could be anywhere from 3 days to a week. No one really knows what's going to happen.
And tonight, Governor Tom Corbett closed the full lengths of Interstate 95, 676, parts of I-76, as well as the non-toll portion of 476, heading into Philadelphia until 2 o'clock tomorrow morning. Peggy Lee, Newswatch 16, reporting live along the interstate in Luzerne County.
The next morning, on October 30th, thousands were without power in Monroe County. Fierce winds and toppled trees brought down power lines. Newswatch 16's Andy Palumbo brought us to Stroudsburg.
We checked with the power companies that serve Monroe County, and they say nearly 66,000 homes and businesses remain without electricity this afternoon. That is the most of any county here in our area. And a lot of those businesses that are without power are right here on Main Street in downtown Stroudsburg. This was the pre-dawn scene on Main Street in downtown Stroudsburg. Blackness. The electricity here went out Monday evening. After the sun came up, you can see McMichael Creek still within its banks despite the rain. You could also hear its roar. Back on Main Street, you can also hear the noise of the generator outside Scarpelli Italian Specialties. It's the battle to keep the food inside here, fresh and cold. How long do you think you'll be able to survive without power?
I don't know. As long as I got gas, I think I'll be all right.
Frank Scarpelli is also performing a community service. Other businesses here are keeping their food cold in his refrigerators and freezers. Inside the Pocono Inn town just up the street, a lone lamp at the front desk. The power provided by an inverter in a pickup truck parked outside. Guests use flashlights and take the stairs, and they are very understanding.
It was out of our control. Okay, that's an act of God. And that basically they've worked with us.
General Manager Tony Ruggiero says he's taking a financial hit. He's had to cancel reservations. Without power, this is a town where time stood still. By mid-morning, the rain let up a little bit and the wind died down, but without power up and down Main Street, even driving was a challenge. Jason Smith makes his living behind the wheel. He drives a taxi for the Pocono Cab Company.
You really can't see, especially with the power out, you can't see much until you're right on top of it. So, you know, you got to really be aware of what's around you.
And if that isn't bad enough, Smith says with most stores and restaurants closed, his business is slow. And no one knows when all the electricity will be back on here in Monroe County. Here on Main Street in Stroudsburg, cars and trucks getting by okay, even though the traffic lights are out. These cars and trucks just passing through because just about every business here on Main Street is closed. Andy Palumbo, Newswatch 16, reporting live from Stroudsburg.
Days after the storm, as the month changed from October to November, the temperatures got colder and snow started to fall. In Lackawanna County, the hundreds without power visited shelters to stay warm. Stacy Lang brought us to one in Thornhurst.
The firefighters and volunteers at the Thornhurst Fire Company at the Lackawanna-Monroe County line have served close to 300 meals over the last 3 days on very little sleep, since they, like the people they're serving, are without power and staying here.
It starts to get a little old after the second day. It's fun the first day, and it's not so much fun the second day. It gets less fun as we go on.
The fire company bordering the Pocono sits in one of the areas hardest hit by Sandy. It's a designated Red Cross shelter for the Poconos and Lackawanna County. That's where many of the people staying here are from, including more than 30 students from a nearby boarding school. They've been without power since Monday night.
It's a good learning experience for the kids. You know, they're able to see where you can't just take power for granted and take, you know, all the things that we enjoy just for granted. It doesn't always come easy.
That's a lesson everyone here's had to learn this week. To show their appreciation to the utility workers hard at work outside, the folks at Thornhurst Fire Company have been providing temporary shelter to them, too.
They work long hours, and they stop in and have coffee, and the tree trimmers are the same way.
Officials think when the students have their power back, then most of the firefighters' work at this shelter will be done. But they say it will stay open as long as needed.
Without them, we probably would have to travel a much greater distance for emergency shelter. So we definitely appreciate them and all their help.
Stacy Lang, Newswatch 16, Lackawanna County.
In Carbon County, there was growing frustration among residents who were still in the dark days later. Bob Reynolds showed us one neighborhood in particular.
Some say it looks like a war zone. This is inside the Holiday Pocono development near Lake Harmony. Nearly 500 families live here. Officials say most haven't had electricity in days.
We're muddling through. The first night of the storm and the next day we were cutting all the roads open because they were impassable, and almost every road had damage, and we have 18 miles of roads and they're basically all out of power.
The resident of this home is thankful, though. He says if this tree had fallen a few more feet in the other direction, it would have crashed into his house.
Thank you.
Don Flick says he's making progress at cutting up the tree in his yard. The lack of power has caused a lifestyle change for Don.
We have a kerosene heater. I do have a fireplace, and there's a creek down the road that I tote water back and forth for, flushing toilets and things like that. We've bought some bottled water for, drinking and washing and things like that.
There are a bunch of trees pushed over on Wilson McGinley's property. Neighbors have told him they've seen PPL crews around, but still no power as a result of the storm.
I knew it was coming, and I was just hoping it wouldn't be as bad as it was, and we got hit very hard in this development, and we need some help now. We need some PPL crews out here to help get these people back on.
Bob Reynolds, Newswatch 16, Carbon County.
On the afternoon of November 2nd, 2012, the New York City Marathon, scheduled to take place that weekend, was canceled. It was the third year for WNEP's Ryan's Run campaign, which quickly became Ryan's Recovery. Ryan Leckie told us that inspiring story.
Car after car, they came, people from our area. Their trunks packed with supplies for folks they've never met, but ones they know are going through so much following Hurricane Sandy.
It's heartwarming. It really is. We hear so many negative things, and it's just good to see people helping each other.
This materials collection at Allied Services in Scranton was one of 4 drop-off sites in northeastern and central Pennsylvania as part of Ryan's Run 3, turned Ryan's Recovery. Other drop-off sites included a McDonald's in Lewisburg and Allied's Heinz Rehab Hospital in the Wilkes-Barre area.
These people are our neighbors. We can help. Logistically, we're here.
From cleaning supplies to flashlights, batteries to toiletries, so many of you joined in this relief mission, which became a race of its own, focused on helping victims of Sandy. The collection also gave area runners the chance to make good use of what was supposed to be Marathon Day in New York.
It's just very emotional and moving to see people that aren't directly affected just wanting to be a part of the effort, especially on such short notice.
And for a lot of these people who donated, they faced struggles of their own this week. Some didn't have power for days and still gave to those in need.
A woman came by and she just unloaded everything, and she just said it's all I could do to help out. And we even asked her, and she said I didn't have power for 4 days. So I know what it feels like, and it gives you hope that people are still very good people.
Thanks to Road Scholar Transport in Dunmore, all of these supplies collected will be sorted and driven this week to community drop-off points, such as shelters and churches in the New York and New Jersey areas to provide immediate relief. For people here at home, they say it was one way to turn a cold day into a warm gesture. I'm Ryan Leckie, Newswatch 16.
A man from Luzerne County helped Sandy victims in New York City too, collecting personal care and cleaning products for a New York shelter damaged in the storm. Lara Greenberg showed us that story.
It's images like these that made Michael Hadzik from Freeland feel compelled to help Sandy victims living in New York City, especially after hearing about the Covenant House, a shelter for homeless New York teenagers, including young mothers.
They're teenagers that they worked with before, that they have set up housing for, and with the recent storm that passed, they've lost that, and so now these teenagers are back on the street.
Now Michael is on a mission to help them. He's held various drives and fundraisers in the past for his brother, a soldier in Iraq, and his 7-year-old special needs nephew. His latest effort for Sandy victims is already underway.
This weekend I'll probably bring a box down.
Videomania here on Center Street in Freeland and the nearby Sure Save grocery store will both be drop-off centers for donations for the Covenant House. And especially since this organization helps teenage mothers, some of the best products to donate are baby items like baby food wipes, and diapers.
Coverage of New York, it's devastating, so we wanted to help out any way we could.
Donation boxes won't be set up until Sunday, but shoppers at SureSave like Donna Castiglione, who recently moved to Whitehaven from Queens, New York, says she's more than happy to donate once the boxes are here.
I was out of power for 22 hours, so compared to what my friends and family are going through, it's nothing compared to what they're going through. It's so hard.
In the past, when I've done anything and reached out to the community, this community has come through all of the time in overwhelming amounts.
And Michael is hoping the community will again on behalf of Sandy victims. Lara Greenberg, Newswatch 16, Luzerne County.
A week after the storm hit, homes and businesses in Monroe County were still without power, and those residents were fed up, letting Newswatch 16 and Reagan Medji know.
We did just get our power back on over the weekend, and that is not the case for many other residents here in Monroe County who also get their power from Met-Ed. Now, those customers live in a housing development just outside Stroudsburg. You can say they're a little upset. They feel that Met-Ed is just ignoring them and their power needs.
We have to go another 2 days without heat. This is not normal. I am very ticked off because we're paying all these bills, paying all this money to them, and they don't even show up.
If I could choke the guy, I'd choke him. No, it's desperate here. I mean, why are we the last ones?
Neighbors of the Canterbury Estates housing development outside Stroudsburg are peeved, to say the least, at their power company, Met-Ed. It's been 1 week since Sandy snapped trees in half, ripped down power lines, and mangled transformers. These neighbors are some of the hundreds of Met-Ed customers still left in the dark since last Monday night, and they've had enough.
We don't even know they're going to be here Wednesday. We don't know where the hell they're going to be at. We haven't seen Met-Ed at all. We've seen everybody else, PPL, rise back and forth and wave at us. But they're not doing anything. It's friggin' cold. My sister and I don't have anywhere to go. We stay in the house with our dogs, putting blankets on us, and then we put the stove on in the morning, so we try to get warm.
While everyone is waiting for the power to be restored, Harold has borrowed his brother's generator. Not only is he using that bad boy to heat his home, he's also sharing the wealth. He's connected an extension cord to his neighbor's house. Oh, and by the way, his neighbor has a wife and 3 kids. Not everyone has a generator, so this neighbor is taking advantage of the shelter at East Stroudsburg University.
It's frustrating because you don't have running water, because we all have wells here. So no one here can take a hot shower, no one can go to the bathroom.
There's also another wave of concern in this community, some forecasts of a possible nor'easter arriving midweek.
We're having a nor'easter coming. Then they're going to tell us, oh, we can't get you because the nor'easter came. So that's our next excuse is going to come up.
Now, we did reach out to Met-Ed. I did speak with a spokesperson this afternoon, and he explained to me that he couldn't exactly tell me when the power would be restored to Canterbury Estates just outside of Stroudsburg, but did assure me that the power should be on for all homes and businesses who have Met-Ed by the end of tonight, and the rest of the customers should be restored sometime tomorrow. Reagan Medji, Newswatch 16 live inside the Pocono newsroom.
Newswatch 16 continued to cover the ongoing efforts of Hurricane Sandy relief for days and weeks after the storm. Hundreds of people from northeastern and central Pennsylvania put together collections and filled trucks full of items to bring to those victims in New York and New Jersey. But when a nor'easter hit the East Coast the first week of November, those Sandy victims were struggling more than ever to get back on their feet. And Sophia Ojeda showed us what the University of Scranton students did to pitch in and help.
Carts full of items for Hurricane Sandy victims are rolled in and dropped off here at the DeNaples Center at the University of Scranton, all to help those hit hard by Sandy. This man from Dunmore says his family in New Jersey is struggling.
It hurts. It really does. If everybody could pitch in, it would be great.
The donations come more than a week after Hurricane Sandy battered the Jersey Shore and New York's downstate, ravaging some coastal towns, ripping apart homes and the boardwalk, leaving behind destruction and thousands without power. Now, to add insult to injury, a nor'easter left a foot of snow in some areas along the already battered coast.
People are really hurt, like family and friends of mine. They have nothing, and it's really nice for them to help everybody out.
The collection here at the U is part of this year's diversity fair on campus, where students learned about different cultures and how to fight bullying and prejudice. Folks have been dropping off items into these boxes to be sent to victims in New Jersey and New York. Organizers are asking for any and all items to be donated. Organizers say they're collecting everything from toiletries to canned goods and baby items, and they say they hope these efforts send a strong message to those who are still struggling.
Hang on. I mean, they just got hit again, and the snowstorm in a lot of areas, they've got a foot of snow, and these are people who haven't had power for 10 days. It's heartbreaking. So just hang on. Everybody's trying to help as much as we can.
Anything that you could give will definitely help. So if you don't know where to take it, just bring it to the university, and the university will put it in the right area.
Donations will be sent to Brooklyn and Staten Island this weekend. The U will be collecting items for the next few months. Sophia Ojeda, Newswatch 16, Scranton.
During tragedy and devastation, the people of northeastern and central Pennsylvania never fail to come together to help their loved ones or total strangers. And Newswatch 16 was honored to share those stories 10 years ago in the aftermath of Superstorm Sandy. Thank you for joining us. I'm Allie Gallo.